Hello, I'm early. So that's okay. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat for me. Hello, Nilesh, how are you? Hello, Nilesh. And who else do we have in here? I'm pretty good, thanks. Pretty good. Hello, Winky. How's it going? Nice to see you. Where are you from, Winky? It's a cool name. What about you, Nilesh? Where are you from? Nilesh is from India. Hello, Kriti. Hello, Jay and Prajakta and Regin, Vinayak, Diarella, Sakshi. Nice to see you all in here. People are starting to come to class now, which is good. Hello, everyone on YouTube, by the way. I hope you're doing well. Hope you don't mind. I'm having a cup of tea. Cool. All right, it's just on 4 o'clock, so we've got a lot to get through, actually. So I'm going to get started. And what we'll do is we'll do Q&A as we progress through the masterclass. We'll stop after every section, okay? Okay, let me share my screen with you. Thanks, Dion. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's make these slides a bit bigger. Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert PTE academic teachers here at e2language.com. Today, what we're going to do is a PTE Academic Master Class on reading. Okay, so we're going to focus in on the reading tasks. So if you're in the Zoom webinar with me from e2language.com, you don't need to listen to this, but if you're on YouTube, you should come across to e2language.com and sign up for free because there are a couple of live classes that happen for free. You get some sample practice questions, etc. And you might want to think about upgrading your account because it will help you to succeed on test day. And if you're on YouTube, please click that subscribe button. I think we're at 193,000 subs. Let's see if we can get to 200,000. Okay, so PTE reading consists of 5 tasks. There are other tasks, in fact, that contribute points to your reading score. For example, there's read aloud, okay, in the speaking section. That contributes points to your reading score. There's also, in listening, there's highlight correct summary, which also contributes points to your reading score. Also, summarize written text in the writing section contributes points to your reading score as well. But these are the 5 tasks located in the reading section. Now, last week, or the week before, I think we did a PTE writing masterclass, and we looked at fill in the blanks there. So we won't be looking at that one today. That's the one with the drop-down lists. So if you did miss that masterclass on writing, you can check that out on the platform under the live class library or the recordings. What we're going to focus on in today's class is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So multiple choice, choose multiple answers, reorder paragraph, fill in the blanks, and multiple choice, choose single answer. Now, I should mention that all of the methods lessons on e2language.com have all been updated. They're all brand new. Half are on YouTube. All of them are on e2language.com. Okay, so if you do want to really focus in on a particular task like that reading and writing fill in the blanks, you can watch the extended methods lesson where I teach them and I go into some depth, a lot of depth and complexity about how it all works, what you're scored on, and how you can maximize your scores. Okay, let's focus on multi-choice, multiple answers. So on test day, this is what it will look like. Obviously, it won't say blah, 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 but you'll see a text. The text on the left-hand side of the screen can be up to 300 words long. So it's pretty long. It's pretty long, okay? And on the right-hand side, you've got different things. So I'm going to do that next, actually. This is just what it looks like. Here are some facts. On test day, you'll get 2 or 3 of these questions. This particular task only contributes points to your reading score. We recommend that you spend about 3 minutes on each of these questions. In fact, this one is probably the longest time you will spend on a question. Multiple choice, choose multiple answers. So let's go through the different parts of the prompt here, the parts of the question. Let me get out my little pointer. So here we have the passage, 300 words max. Here we have the question prompt, according to the passage, blah, 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 blah. Here we have up to 7 answer options, between 5 and 7 answer options, of which 2 or 3 will be correct, okay? So you might have 5 of which 2 will be correct, or 5 of which 3 will be correct, or 6 or 7, etc. Just note the square answer options here. That means you can tick them and choose more than one, okay? Cool. So what's the method for this particular task? What you want to do first of all is speed read that passage, okay? So let's go back. You want to speed read this. That's the first step. You want to understand what this is about, okay? Because you don't want to freak yourself out. If you just sort of start going to the questions, you're going to think, I don't understand what this is about. Oh my God, this is so difficult. If you spend a little bit of time whizzing through this, it's going to help you, okay? Speed read that passage. Then read the answer option. I'm going to take you through this step by step in a minute, so don't worry. Okay, so you read that answer option. You find the answer option in the passage. There'll be sort of synonyms of the same word, perhaps. Then you're going to ask yourself a question. Does the answer option say the same thing as the text? If yes, you select it. If no, you leave it. Let's do one together, and we'll apply the method to this practice question here. I want you to speed read this. Forget this. Please read this quite quickly in 30 seconds. Okay, so hopefully you have at least a vague idea about what this passage was about. You don't need to understand it in detail because that's the next step we're going to read for detail, but hopefully you got the gist of what this passage was about, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our attention to this answer option here, and it's actually an extension of the question prompt. According to the text, the Library of Alexandria was supposedly located in ancient Egypt. Okay, so that's the statement here. What we're going to do is we're going to find that statement in here. We've written a little bit differently, and then we're just going to confirm whether it actually says that or not. Okay, so we read that. The Library of Alexandria was supposedly located in ancient Egypt. Okay. Then what we do is we find that, okay, here it says something similar. It says the Library of Alexandria, Northern Egypt, antiquity, 2,000 years ago. So we've located that. Okay, we know which part of the text we're reading. Now we're asking ourselves a question, which is, does this statement here say the same thing as this here? Please answer yes or no into the chat. Nice work. Well, let's most of you getting it, which is great. Let's do it again. The Library of Alexandria was supposedly located in ancient Egypt. The Library of Alexandria, Northern Egypt, 2,000 years ago. And the supposedly comes from a little bit further down where, as we'll read, we don't actually know whether this, it sort of might be a mythical library. We don't know. So the answer to that is yes, that's correct. Okay. So we've chosen that one. Let's now do the same thing for this one here. So the Library of Alexandria is widely believed to have never existed. And read this. So answer yes or no. Does this say the same thing as this? Be careful. It needs to be precisely the same meaning. Good. Nice. Yes. Nice, Sam. Well done. Well spotted. Correct. Okay. Yeah. Let me just point something out to you, which is contradictory here. It's contradictory. Okay. Just let me move this little thing here. Get my spotlight out again. Okay. So the Library of Alexandria is widely believed to have never existed. Here it says the mystery has been perpetuated by the fact that no architecture remains. This lack of physical proof has even persuaded some to wonder if the fabulous library actually existed at all. Some versus widely believed. There's a contradiction here, isn't there? So this statement actually says something quite contradictory to this text. Therefore, we're going to leave it. Okay? I'm not happy with that because it ultimately needs to say the same thing. It may say it in slightly different words, like synonyms, that we use synonyms, etc. But the meaning has to be the same. Let's try the next one. You have to find the key words here. Now, I'm not helping you find it in the text. So you have to find a keyword from here, like university or hotel or travelers, find it in the text, and then confirm if it says the same thing or not. All right, nice work. Most people are getting this one correct. Okay, so we're going to read this part here in the second paragraph. That's correct, Manish. Well done. So let's read this. So the Library of Alexandria also functioned as a university and hotel for travelers. Okay, here it says, since its destruction, this wonder of the ancient world has haunted the imagination of poets, historians, travelers. Well, it has the word travelers there. And scholars, university, who have lamented the tragic loss of knowledge and literature. Today, the idea of a universal library situated in a city, well, it just doesn't say that. So we're going to scrub that one. I'm not choosing that. It didn't say that. Let's go to the next one. Nice, good one. So Diane's got the precise sentence from the passage there. Destroyed in a huge fire around 2,000 years ago. All right, so which part? Well, let's have a look at this section here. So the Library of Alexandria is believed to have been destroyed by fire. Once the largest library in the ancient world and containing works by the greatest thinkers and writers of antiquity, the Library of Alexandria, northern Egypt, is popularly believed to have been destroyed in a huge fire. Is believed to have been destroyed by fire? Yes. Nice, nice, nice. Last one. Nice. People are getting this last one immediately. And the reason why is now that you've gone in, you've read this several times now, you sped read it at the start, then you deep read it here, you deep read it again, and now you actually probably really understand this passage very well. And so here it says the Library of Alexandria has no remaining physical evidence of its existence. The mystery is being perpetuated by the fact that no architectural remains, no remaining physical evidence of its existence. Okay, yes, so they say the same thing. You can see how this does not use the same words, no architectural remains, no remaining physical evidence, but it has the same meaning. So hopefully you chose A, B, C, D, and E. Hopefully you got that. Pop into the chat how many you got out of 3. 1, 2, or 3. What was your score? How did you go? Nice work, Diane, Jay, Travis, Sam, Tazeen, Vinayak. Oh, Nilesh didn't do so well. That's right, Nilesh. You can redeem yourself in the next one. Cool. Anyway, that's it. That's a really confusing question. I think multiple choice, multiple answers is the most intimidating reading question in the PTE. Because when you first look at it, like look at this thing on the screen, you're like, whoa, long passage, heaps of answer options. You're like, oh my God. If you approach it methodically, like we just did, even if you've got anxiety and your heart's beating and you'll be fine. You just have to break it down, move through it systematically, methodically. Does it say the same thing? Yes or no? Does it say the same thing? Yes or no? Tick, 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 boom. And then you move on. Anyway, easier said than done, hey? Okay, next one is reading reorder paragraph. This is what it looks like on test day. You have to put the sentences into the correct sequence, right? Here are some facts about this particular task. You'll get 2 or 3 on test day. It contributes points only to your reading score. You should be spending really probably not, I reckon 90 seconds on each of these. These can be done really quickly. Okay, and remember in reading, you're managing your own time for the whole section of the reading test. That is, the individual tasks are not timed. You get overall time and you have to move through as efficiently and as accurately as you possibly can. Okay, so I reckon 90 seconds on these. Let's talk briefly about the scoring. So if you connect sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 together, you get 100%. If you accidentally screw it up and you put sentence 2 at the top and sentence 1 there, in fact, you're going to get 50%. The reason is it counts the number of connections, not, I won't go into depth here, but just trust me on this. And if you got 3 wrong, then you get 25%. So the scoring's kind of funny. It doesn't count the sentences, it counts whether you connected 1 and 2 correctly, 2 and 3 correctly, 3 and 4 correctly, and 4 and 5 correctly, okay? Yes, okay. Let's look at the method for reorder paragraph. The first thing that we want to talk about here is, why are we looking at that? We want to sort of think about the nature of a sentence or the mechanics of a sentence, because really what you're dealing with here are 5 individual sentences. And the sentences that you'll see will typically be a standard subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object sentence. So I'm not going to make up a sentence, but what's going to happen is, say this is sentence 1 and this is sentence 2. What you'll often find is the subject of this sentence will sort of have some meaning transmit into the second sentence here, whether the subject, the meaning is in the object of this one, the object might connect to the subject here, the verbs might connect in some way, in some meaningful way, We'll see this in a second when we apply it. So ultimately, with the method, you're reading for meaning and you're connecting meaning, okay? Meaning of the first one to meaning of the second one to meaning of the third one. You can use grammatical hints to help you. If you need help with grammar, check out e2school.com. This is a website we've recently built to help people who are struggling, who need help with grammar, etc. So if you're not sure about subjects and verbs and objects, check this website out. There's a free grammar course. But the grammar that can help you are articles like the and the. So it might start off with, might be talking about buildings, for example. Buildings are big and amazing. The buildings in Melbourne are old and whatever. A particular building on Burke Street, the particular, you can see how plural noun moves into article, plural noun. A specific singular noun uses an indefinite pronoun and then turns into the in the second sentence. So these are nice, helpful hints. Then it might turn into pronouns. So it'll go nouns, the nouns, these or those, or a noun, the noun, this or that. So look out for pronouns. They can help you. And I should also mention the use of, a person's name, Mr. Smith, followed by he. So you can use personal pronouns to help guide you through. But just keep in mind that the grammatical stuff, the grammar should not be the first thing that guides you. The grammar is just there to sort of help you as a hint. Really, you're reading for meaning and connecting meaning. Okay. So the method is like this. First, when you see that jumbled up paragraph, you see the 5 sentences all mixed up, you firstly need to find the independent sentence. So there'll be one sentence in there, typically, that if extracted and looked at on its own, it will make sense. Some of the other sentences require a previous sentence to make sense. The first sentence should be able to stand alone and make sense by itself, okay? So you got to find that independent one. Then use your understanding of key nouns and synonyms, like meaning as it flows through the paragraph, how nouns turn into pronouns, linking words, therefore and however and as a result, etc. And also your understanding of sentence construction and grammar like articles. Anyway, best thing to do is practice it. So remember, key nouns, pronouns, linking words, and this one is about time. So follow the time through this paragraph here. Let me disappear. Oi! Hopefully you didn't see that. How do I do this without? Oh no, that's okay. You have 90 seconds. All right, I'll just give you a few more seconds to pop in your answers. They're looking good. Well done. Looking really good. Hello, Fredu. That's a cool name. And Travis Duck. There's some cool names in here. And Tazeen. And Praveen. Okay, let's go through. So, first step. What's the first step? Find the independent sentence. Let me get out my my little red dot here. So independent sentence. So we need to find a sentence here that by itself makes sense. It doesn't require another sentence to make sense. So then okay, that's immediately not an independent sentence. Let's try C. After a long period of time, as the cloud, well, we haven't been introduced to a cloud yet. So we need a cloud before we have the cloud. As the cloud moves about, no. If it said as a cloud moves about, that could be an independent sentence. That, well, there's a pronoun referring back to another sentence. That is, so it has to be B, right? Astronomers claim that a star begins as a cloud of hydrogen and helium. Nice. So we pulled that sentence out by itself. It makes sense. It doesn't require other sentences. This is the independent sentence. Now we need to find one that connects through to that. So it's talking about a cloud. As the cloud moves about, it collects bits of dust and more floating gases. Then the cloud begins to warm as more dust and gases are pulled into it. After a long period of time, as the cloud becomes denser, heat and friction cause the atoms to explode. That, my friends, is how a star is born. Now you can see here how the meaning is sent from sentence to sentence, right? We have a cloud, the cloud, the cloud, the cloud. We have bits of dust and more floating gases. We have more dust and gases. Then we have after a long period of time. So this sort of separates these two. Then we have heat and friction cause the atoms to explode. That heat and friction, you can see how that pronoun references that part of the sentence. There's a lot going on in a paragraph. It's pretty crazy that our brains are capable of comprehending all of this stuff. And we just do it without even really being conscious of what's going on. It's pretty nuts. Your job is to become conscious of what's going on, because being conscious of what's going on in these sentences and paragraphs is going to help you a lot. That really is the key to this. You understand how this all fits together and why consciously. On test day, your life is going to be much easier. Let's do another practice, shall we? Oh, before we do that, if you're on YouTube right now, come across to e2language.com, sign up for free. You can join some of our live classes, and if you want, you can upgrade to the Express Plus package that comes with the PTE mini mock test. Why this is good is because it doesn't just give you a score, it gives you much more than a score. It gives you feedback on each of the skills, on each of the tasks, including all of the writing and speaking that is marked by our teachers, with specific feedback on pronunciation and grammar, etc. So check out E2 Languages PTE mini mock test. It's a ripper. Okay, you have 90 seconds to do this one here. All right. All right. Let me just check the chat here. Okay, everyone, actually, not most, everyone's gone for D as the independent sentence, which I think is probably a good idea. Then there seems to be a competition between A and E for the second sentence. So let's check this out. So you're right. A house is by far the most expensive item anyone will ever buy. This is a great introductory sentence to the paragraph, right? In and of itself, it makes sense. Doesn't require another sentence. Worryingly, the median house price in Australia is now well above $700,000. A car is probably the next most expensive object on the list. Most cars, luckily, are far less expensive than houses. Still, these two things alone will cost you next to $1 million. And we can see here how a house turns into the median house price. The most expensive item has a reference to this adverb worryingly. Then it switches from talking about houses to a car, most cars, and it has this the next most expensive object. Most cars far less expensive than houses. These two things talks about what was mentioned before. So you can see again all the connections, all the complexity and connections within this paragraph. Can you just pop into the chat there how you went? Did you get 2 out of 2 for the paragraphs? 1 out of 2? Yep, sweet, nice work, Prajakta. Someone got 1, that's all right. Travis got 1, Nilesh. Looks like Nilesh is working with the other scoring. All correct says Funguao, nice work. Fredu says, yeah, you got them. Good stuff. Prajakta says, what about the sequence? If the linking is right, but the sequence is wrong, well, that's impossible. Because at some point you might get the first, like you might, for example, let's say you connected A and E and you put A and E right at the top. Yes, you would get those two right, but then at some point it's going to screw up, okay? So, cool, nice work. By the way, those of you on YouTube, I'm not paying attention to your questions because you're not on E2 language. I'm talking about you, Rajveer, Somnanth, Venkat, Adriana, Anisa, Amit, Pujagurung, Diana, Anandapriya, Sujivan, Sriram. Hello, and come across to e2language.com. All right, next reading task is, I reckon, pretty straightforward. Not many people seem to struggle with this one. This one's called reading fill in the blanks. On test A, you get 4 or 5. It contributes points just to your reading, and it tests a specific part of your reading ability. That is your understanding of and ability to use collocations, natural sounding phrases, and particularly academic collocations. So have a look at this. This is quite interesting. This is from a website, a university website, an Australian university website. Have a look at how many academic phrases or collocations are in here. In-depth knowledge, field of study, even graduate attribute, broad understanding, international perspective, link between theory and practice. There's a verb and noun relationship there to make an academic phrase. What is the link between theory and practice? Effective communication, adjective, noun. Collect, where's some other good ones? You spot some, please put them into the chat. What can you see? Can you see any, what sort of academic phrases can you see there? Find a good one and pop it into the chat for me. Critical reasoning, says Sakshi. Exactly, critical reasoning. What else have you got? Generate ideas, says Vinyak. Travis says investigate problems. Diane says learning objectives. Good, so we got verbs, nouns, we've got adjective, noun, phrases, engage effectively, process materials, and inform judgment, adapt innovatively. These are all sort of, this is all academic-y sort of phrases, I guess, or academic language. And this is what this next task is going to test you on, okay? Create solutions, future leadership. This is it, this is it. So imagine you have a base word, academic. Okay, this could be a noun or an adjective, but in this sense, it's going to be an adjective. So academic careers, because these are all nouns. So academic circles, academic community, academic debate, discipline, discourse, institution, an academic journal, an academic research, whatever. So how this is going to work is, did I not give you a question for this? Oh. Sorry, didn't give you a question. Anyway, my apologies. So for example, this is what it looks like. So what you'll be doing is there'll be a word like understanding right here. Then there'll be a gap, and there'll be one of these will say broad. And what you're going to do is you're going to drag the adjective across and drop it in to form that academic phrase, a broad understanding. Or you're going to drag the verb across, convey ideas. Or it might have ideas as the noun here, which you'll drag and drop to convey ideas, etc. Engage effectively, critical judgment. These are, this is what this test you on. My apologies, I actually don't have a practice question for you for this. What you can do, of course, is go into e2language.com. I think there's about 40 practice questions for this in your materials there. So feel free to go and do some practice now that you have an understanding of what this tests you on. Okay, I'm going to skip that. And we're going to go straight to multiple choice, choose single answer. Okay, so we looked at multiple choice, choose multiple answers. This one is same format, but it tests you on a different, it tests you differently. Okay. With multiple choice, multiple answers before, as you saw, really it was about matching the answer, the statement to the passage and asking yourself, does it say the same thing, yes or no? This is a bit different. This is going to get you to read for something, okay? Whoops. This is what it looks like on test day. You'll get a passage of text. It'll be much shorter. It's 110 words max. So in fact, that's quite deceptive. Just let me fix that. Really, it's much like about this long. That looks better. That's actually about how long it is. So it's much shorter than the multiple choice, multiple answers that we looked at before. It's going to have a question prompt, and you'll see that it's got answer options, this time little circles, because you can only choose one. On test day, you'll get 2 or 3. It contributes points just to your reading score. You should spend about 2 minutes on these because the passage is a lot shorter. So 110 words max, 3 to 5 answer options. And what's going to be critical is this question prompt. So the question prompt will come in 2 forms. It'll come in an incomplete sentence where you'll complete a sentence and then find it in the text. The author believes that love is, for example. Or it might actually come with a direct question. What is the reader's opinion about love? Okay, and you'll be finding that in the text. There are certain functions, okay? It's going to get you to read for a certain function, like you'll be reading for the main idea. What is the main idea of the text? Or what does the author say about the new iPhone 12? Okay, a detail. Or a purpose. Why does the author say this? The purpose. Be reading for a purpose. Or attitude or opinion. How does the author feel about, or what does the author think about this, whatever this is? Or an inference. How can I phrase an inference? What does the author mean by this? Okay, cool, let's try it. So what is the main idea of the text? This is what we're going to read for now. What I want you to do before I show you the answer options is I want you to read this carefully and understand the main idea of the text. There's going to be lots of other little details, but what's the main idea of the text? Yes, please read this. I'll give you 30 seconds. All right, this is going to frustrate you a bit. Okay, the main idea of the text. Now, all of these will probably be mentioned, but what you have to sort of do is think about which one is just a sub idea, and what is the main idea. So there'll be some sub ideas, but what is the main idea of this one here? Nice work, Diana and Sam and Travis. Great work. And Jay's got it. Carrie's got it. I'll give you a hint. It's not C. Not C. This will frustrate you. Let's forget this. Forget that. Forget that. Let's read this. Okay, let's read it again. I'll read it out. Wait. Scientists have known for more than 250 years that electric eels, which send electricity pulsing through the water to stun their prey, live in the Amazon basin. They're widely distributed in swamps, streams, creeks, and rivers across South America and have long been thought to belong to a single species. With modern genetic and ecological analyses, however, researchers at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History have discovered that electric eels in the Amazon basin belong to 3 different species that evolved from a shared ancestor millions of years ago. The answer is there are more species of electric eels than first thought. That is the main idea of the text. That is what that research was about. That is what they found out. Okay. Yes, they're exclusively found in the Amazon basin. All these other things were mentioned, including having a common ancestor, but that wasn't the main idea. This is a bit of a frustrating one. It really requires you to sort of step back from the details in a way and think, what's the main idea here? What was the key finding of their research, if you like? Anyway, I hope I didn't frustrate you there. Let's do it again, and let's read for detail this time. So this time, instead of stepping back and reading for main idea, we're going to step in and we're going to find a little piece of information. Good news is you've just read this text, so it should be familiar to you. Some people doubt that the Library of Alexandria ever existed because... I'm going to disappear. I don't think you need to read that again. Let's see if you can do it just from the answer options here. Can you do it in 5 seconds? Nice. Nice. Whoop. Suda, please check again. Nice. Sunil, please check again. All right, almost everybody has got this without even looking at the text because we read it before carefully. Good stuff, good stuff. You can see how this is a question about detail though. Oops, so let's go back. Forget the little clock here. Okay, so some people doubt that the Library of Alexandria ever existed because the mystery has been perpetuated by the fact that no architectural remains. Is that where it is? Is that where it's from? Yeah, this lack of physical proof has even persuaded some to wonder if the fabulous library actually existed at all. Okay, no remnants of the construction were ever found. Or, put simply, there is a lack of physical proof and no architectural remains or archaeological finds can be attributed to it. So that's a detail here, okay? That question is asking you to read for a specific detail. It's not the overall meaning. The overall, who knows what the overall meaning is here, but the detail is there. Okay, let's do a third one here. We'll read for purpose. Question prompt is, why does the author want us to consider larger opportunities? Please forget the answer option. Read this carefully. Why does the author want us to consider larger opportunities? All right. This is a frustrating one as well. In fact, I hate this question. I hate to tell you this, I hate to tell you this, only about 10% of you got it right. The answer there was to challenge old assumptions. You know what happens? Every time I teach this class like once a month, and I forget to update this question because it's a crap question and it's a little bit ambiguous. It's ambiguous because A could possibly be the answer as well. I'm just reading it now. I'm like, it's not 100% clear that it was, in fact, to challenge old assumptions, even though that apparently is the correct answer. So forget it. Forget it. But let's go back and just think about the type of question. So purpose. Purpose. And what we're really trying to focus on here is why the author says something. Why does the author say this? Okay. And what you're reading for is purpose, a reason why they mentioned this, okay? This question is crap. I'm going to get rid of it for the next one. My apologies. I did that last time as well. This time, we're going to read for attitude and opinion, okay? This one, I think, is clearer. What does the author believe about Australian wildlife? This one should be clearer. Okay. What does the author believe about Australian wildlife? This one should be pretty straightforward. Nice. Okay. Nice work. Good. You probably don't need the rest of the time. It looks like everybody's got the correct answer. So the answer here is, just let me go back and start the clock again. So what does the author believe? So we're trying to get into the mind of the author. What does the author believe about Australian wildlife? It's very diverse. Well, yes, the author says something about having lots of different species, but that's really not the key point, right? It is sadly threatened. Have a look at this sort of word here, threaten, this adjective. Then we've got words like tragically, extinction, vulnerable, threats, invasive, things like land clearing, unsustainable, etc. So clearly the answer there is B. It is incredibly rare. Well, it's not mentioned. Well, it says here that many animals are not are found nowhere else. So it's kind of mentioned. It's kind of mentioned. That's not his core belief here, right? His core belief here is that it's sadly threatened. That's the answer for that one. Hopefully that's clear. I'm just going to check this last question because I'm concerned it's going to be a crap one. I just don't want it to be a crap one. Okay. You know what? I'm going to skip it because I need to check it. I'm going to skip right to here because if you do need more practice questions, then check out e2language.com. The questions were actually written well, not by me, by somebody else. So I'm going to have to go back and check those 2 questions because I don't like them. And when you prepare with bad materials, such as stuff created by moi, it can confuse you. So do check out e2language.com if you're watching this on YouTube, and remember to subscribe. Now I'll hang around and do a Q&A. If you've got any questions, please pop them into the chat. All right, what have we got? Okay, so Santosh has missed in the reading section by 1 point. So Santosh, what I would consider if I were you is thinking about the non-reading tasks and how they might be contributing points to your reading score. So as I mentioned, read aloud from the speaking section, summarize written text from the writing section. In the listening section, there's highlight correct summary. These 3 tasks, those 3 tasks in particular, also contribute points to your reading score. And read aloud, as far as you can sort of tell just by looking at sort of different score reports that come through, seems to be pretty important, not just for speaking, but also for reading as well. Diarella, for multiple choice, is it individually timed as 3 minutes, or do we have to manage our own time? You have to manage your own time in the reading section. So you're given overall time for all of the reading questions, okay? You've got a little clock in the top right-hand side of the screen that ticks down from, I think it's like 32 minutes or something, I can't remember. So you manage your own time. Therefore, you should not spend too much time on each question. For example, in multiple choice, multiple answers, you should be spending about 3 minutes. Then you go into reorder paragraph. For each reorder paragraph, you should be spending about 90 seconds. For multiple choice single answer, you should be spending about 2.5 minutes max, okay? And what we worked out today was that spending time reading the passage and understanding the passage actually helps you to speed up and do it more quickly, which seems like a bit of a paradox. You spend time to save time, okay? So you read that passage carefully, or you read it quickly at least, and it actually helps you because then when you go to select the answers or the answer, you can do it much more quickly. If you want to know about time management more broadly for the entire PTE test, go to Google and type in PTE time management, and there's a blog by e2language.com. I think it's the #1 blog. And what we've done is we've given you the exact timings you should spend on all of the reading and all of the listening tasks. Sheldy, will American spelling be a problem for your marks? No. With regards to spelling in the writing section of the test, you have to select one type of spelling, be it British or American, and stick with it. So don't mix up your spelling, for example. Don't write color in the British way and then further on write analyze with a Z, okay? Stick to one form of spelling. Fredu, is it true that the mock test, the Pearson PTE mock test, official mock test, is harder than the actual exam? Whoa, what have I done here? hold on one second. I just need to stop this PowerPoint. It seems to be that way. The Pearson official PTE mock test seems to grade people more strictly than the actual exam. That might be due to people not taking the test particularly seriously, though. You know, it's not as high stakes because it's just a mock test. Also, it might be due to the fact that people's microphones screw up all the time because they're at home and they're not using a good microphone. So yeah, so you want to, it's a good indication. It's a very good indication. It does, in fact, use the same algorithm as the actual exam, apparently. Carrie, there are several classes in a week I mentioned that are the same with the earlier classes. How can I be sure which one is similar with which? Right, so for example, on Monday, for example, I can't remember, it might be, there should be, I'm not familiar with the PTE times. On Monday, for example, there'll be a PTE methods class and there'll be a PTE advanced class. They're different content, okay? Maybe a different teacher as well, and certainly different content. The difference is the PTE methods class focuses more on those sort of what we looked at today, like the step-by-step approach to the question, and has a bit more sort of skill building stuff. The PTE advanced live class really is just mock test practice. Like you sort of get straight to the questions and the teacher will explain the answers. Diane, will there be a masterclass for speaking? Yes. Yes, that'll be coming up, not next week, the week after. Projector, sorry, Vicky, if I'm running out of time, which one should I give up or let it go or skip? Manage your time properly so you just don't end up in that position. Because, for example, in listening, the final task is write from dictation, which contributes points to your writing score and your listening score. So you don't want to skip that one, right? That's a really critical one. There's some crazy advice on the internet about skip the multiple choice questions because they don't matter. That is rubbish, okay? That is rubbish. There's no evidence to suggest that that's the case. And I'm sure Pearson didn't just put in questions that have no value. That would be ridiculous. So please don't skip any questions. Manage your time properly. You've got plenty of time to go through it at a sort of moderate tempo, to read carefully, etc. Travis, does the PTE time change or vary at all? Yeah. In the listening section, for example, because some of the listening audios are slightly different lengths, there will be slightly different time for the listening. For reading, I think it's pretty much the same. I think they give you a little band. It's pretty much the same, Travis. Fredu, I got 60 in the mock test. Do you believe I can get a 79 in the actual exam? If it were our mock test, Fredu, what you need to do is focus in on the weak areas, the points that we've that have been shown to you that you need to work on. Okay, so it might be pronunciation, or it might be structure of your essay, or it might be multiple choice, multiple answers for reading, for example. So really you have to work with the feedback and focus your practice on those weak areas to improve. Nilesh, have you made a video on punctuation? I struggle to use it in the essay. No, we don't have a video on punctuation actually, because it's actually radically complex. We will get there eventually. Santosh, are the tasks in E2 language tougher than the actual PTE exam? No. I'll tell you this. The PTE questions have a variety of difficulty levels. So some reorder paragraphs will be pretty straightforward. They're pretty easy. Some will be really hard. Same with reading multiple choice single answer. Some of them you'll go like, what the hell? And some of them you're like, oh, that's easy, it's D, or whatever the answer is. So there's a sort of spectrum of difficulty in the actual PTE test, we've done the same thing with our questions, okay? So we've got a spectrum of difficulty with our questions. Some are pretty straightforward. They're written at the B2 level of CFR, for example. Some are at the C1, C2 level. So they're very complex grammar, complex vocabulary. Jay, is the PT exam open now in Melbourne? I don't think so, because we're still in stage 4 lockdown. You'll need to check with the official website about whether the testing centres are open in your area or region or not. Nilesh, how do I improve my written discourse score? So written discourse is an enabling skill on your score report that comes from one task only in PTE, and that is write essay. Okay, and that is based on written discourse refers to the structure of your essay. The structure as in the overall essay structure, okay, how the introduction connects to your body paragraphs, which connects to your conclusion in turn connects back to your introduction, etc. And also the structure within your paragraphs of the topic sentence, the body of your paragraph with the examples and evidence and the closing sentence, etc. So this is written discourse. If you follow the methods lesson that we have for write essay and the structure that we give you, you should be getting a high written discourse score, okay? Because that structure works. It's a ripper. It's good. Carrie, Jay, is it true that you say you should, like, let's say we're looking at multiple choice single answer. Should you ignore the answer options and just read the text first to get a good understanding of it and then look at the answer options? Okay. Yes, that is really critical for your success. The reason is it can be very overwhelming on test day and your brain's like got too much stuff going on. And so you're looking at the text and then you're looking at the answer options and you're sort of scrambling between 3 things: question prompt, answer options, and text. Forget it. Look at the text. Look at the text. Understand it fully, because this is ultimately a reading test, right? What they want you to be able to do is to understand, what is this text about? Okay, once you've read it and you've got it, like when we read the passage about the Library of Alexandria or the other passages that we read, you understand it. Then you turn your attention to the answer options. And if it's multiple choice single answer, you might be able to just get it straight away. Or if it's multiple choice multiple answers, you go to the first one, find the specific part in the text, confirm yes or no, move to the next one, etc. It's a great strategy. Thanks, Fredu. Nice to have you here. Have fun back at work. Diarella, any rhythm and intonation tips aside from the videos that you have? What I will say is that in PT speaking, what seems to be such a critical skill that contributes really helps your speaking score is reading with rhythm. And what I mean by that is you're using all sorts of different skills in your speaking to read the paragraph or describe the image or retell the lecture, such as emphasis, such as pausing, such as connected speech, such as intonation, ups and downs, etc. You're really putting as much meaning into your speaking as possible, okay? And in doing that, what you're doing for the algorithm is you're creating these lovely wave patterns of speech that show that you're speaking with a lot of meaning. A terrible thing to do is to read in a flat, monotone way, okay? So imagine the paragraph: in the writing essay, is it better to write on one opinion or include both sides? Boring. You can't do that. It's too flat. You need to really read with a lot of meaning. Feng, on test day, will I have the same questions as the person sitting next to me? Why are you asking me this, Feng? What's your plan there? The answer is no. There's thousands of PTE questions, right? So you don't know which questions you're going to get. The idea also that you do the prediction questions is a bit crazy because there are thousands of them. You're better off just learning a method, right? And then you can answer any question rather than apparently memorizing the questions, which is a bit crazy. Santosh, on E2 language, is my speaking and writing evaluated by an algorithm or by expert teachers? Expert teachers will be listening to your speaking, giving you feedback, and marking your writing. Prajakta, thinking of 2 ideas for my essay for body 1 and body 2 paragraph is difficult. Yeah, you need to plan. Before you start writing your essay, you need to stop. You need to think of your 2 ideas for or against the argument, write them down, and then write your paragraph about them. You do need to come up with those 2 ideas. Nilesh, any last minute tips for my test? It's the 11th hour. What I would do is, like, if it's literally the day before your test or the night before your test, I would relax. Really, I think put yourself into a good mental headspace, chill out, take some time out, go for a walk in the park, have a rest, get a good night's sleep. Put yourself in a good mental state for this test. I mean, look, the other thing is you might rock up on test day. Who knows how you'll wake up in the morning? You might wake up and be anxious. Who knows? So be it if that's the case. Again, really what you really are doing on test day, despite all the fluctuations of anxiety and whatever's going through your body, is you're concentrating, paying attention. This test is going to be kind of sucks. 3 hours of your life. It's all right. You'll be okay. You'll do well. Vicky, is it true that females score more poorly in the speaking section of PTE? I don't think there's any actual evidence to suggest that. There's lots of stuff on the internet that says that, but how the PTE speaking algorithm was created, I think there were, how many people were there? I think there were 4,000. I think there was, I can't remember exactly. There's something like 4,000 or 10,000 people. I can't remember. A lot of people were used to train the algorithm. And they didn't just select men, they selected men and women, and they selected people from 120 different language backgrounds. So people who spoke Japanese or spoke Marathi or spoke whatever, Malayalam or Farsi or whatever, all sorts of first language backgrounds, male and female, to train this speaking algorithm. Noreen, what should we do a week before the test? Attend our live classes, every single one of them, twice a day, every day. After the live class, if the live class is on reading, then go and apply yourself to some reading questions. I would suggest doing that. Cool. All right. Last question. Santosh's question is about memorizing questions from Google. I just don't know if it's going to put a lot of stress on you trying to memorize questions. And I don't know if those questions are accurate. For example, I've looked at some of the so-called essay prompts that people memorize. They might be something similar to the essay prompt, but they're written in really poor English. They're inaccurate. Honestly, they're strange. So I think, again, you're better off just learning methods. So then whatever question you see on test day, you'll be able to go through it, use your natural language skills, and to get the right answer. Last question, Sakshi. In the right essay, is it better to write on one opinion or include both sides? Does it impact scoring? You have to really choose a side to the argument and argue for that side. You can mention the other side of the argument, but in doing so, you'll be mentioning it to shoot it down, okay? All right, I'm gonna leave it there. My apologies for those 2 bad questions. I will fix those up for next time. Hopefully you won't see me next time because you'll pass your PTE test and you'll never see me again. Anyway, thanks for coming along. See you soon. No, don't see you soon. Good luck.